Well, Glenpool, welcome to the July edition of Conversations with the City. Hey, today we're going to be talking with our Vice Mayor, Brandon Kearns, and talking a little bit about some of what he sees for the city coming up, some of the reasons that he ran for office, and how long he's been around. So thanks for joining us, and we'll get started. Welcome, Brandon.
Thanks,
glad
David.
to see you.
Glad to be here.
Normally, it's awkward for me to say Brandon. Typically, it's Vice Mayor.
That's it,
so
whatever. I'm okay with Brandon.
That's right. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in Glenpool, and been on the City Council.
We've lived in Glenpool 18, 19 years. Still in our first starter home. Not a big fan of being housebroke.
Yeah.
Amber and I like to travel with the kids and go to all their sporting events and attend their college events. So just started my third term on council, so 9 years. When I decided to run the first time, ran against the incumbent, successfully won the election, and then the last two times I've ran, didn't even draw an opponent. So everybody thinks I'm doing a good job, or everybody thinks I'm crazy and going to let me keep volunteering my time for the betterment of the city.
Yeah, it's one of the things about City Council is you guys don't get paid for any of this.
We don't get
a lot of effort. And
a lot of effort.
We appreciate that
Yes.
as staff, the amount of time that you spend involved with what's going on. But it is a volunteer position.
It is strictly volunteer, and people are shocked when I tell them that. Yeah. Co-workers are shocked when I tell them that, David. It's just giving back to the community. Right. You know, Amber and I have lived here, like I said, for many, many years. The kids went to school here. It's just that whole mentality and mindset of try to make a difference and leave it better than you found it.
Absolutely. I know you probably had a number of reasons why you ran in the beginning, but based on our conversations over the years that we've known each other, I know law enforcement's one of your big platform pieces.
Yes.
Those things that you have a passion about. And
yes.
So tell us some of the changes that you've seen, some of the things that you've been advocating for and that you've been excited about that we've been able to do with our law enforcement.
Right. Not just law enforcement, David, but also our fire department,
safety,
our public works.
Good point.
A lot of those individuals from both entities are hometown individuals. So when I become on and first got elected, I was really, really big about who does our inspections. With my background being in project management and construction, who does our city inspections? And I was shocked when I found out we didn't have a fire marshal.
Right.
So I was huge in trying to push and get that approved, and we finally did. Mm-hmm. And that has been beneficial to the city and taken some relief off of our inspections department. Right. On the life safety side of us having a fire marshal that can handle that stuff. There's been a lot of changes as police department as well. A lot of people have retired, and we've had a lot of new hires and stuff. You yourself have hired a new chief since I've been here as well. So a lot of growth. We was able to pass the vision, move Glenpool forward tax, and that hired new officers as well. So as the city's progressed and grown, and we've added new neighborhoods, new businesses, we've also backed that up with our police, fire, and public works department.
Yeah, that's one of the exciting things is that you were a part of was that Move Glenpool Forward vote.
Yes.
That when it passed, it added immediately 7 new firefighters,
yes.
5 new police officers, and
yes.
Kind of set the stage for this secondary growth that we're seeing today. Right. In our budget process.
And it was able to add that extra shift on the fire department and stuff and increase those companies as well.
Yeah, so been great. I know they're appreciative of that. We're appreciative
yes.
of that. Hopefully our public is as well.
Right.
Because it's been a major factor in some of the things that we do. And, and because of continued support from the council and the public and these types of initiatives,
right.
We have one of the best ISO ratings in the Tulsa system.
Yes.
I mean, we've been on par with the city of Tulsa before with our ISO, which means direct, reduced insurance costs to those that have homeowners
insurance and mortgages.
So
right.
It's been great for that, and we appreciate
yes.
that and the work that you and the council members have been a part of that.
On that as well, one of the other main reasons was I always felt, and I still do to this day, and I know you've made strides, but the disconnect between the city and the school.
Yeah.
I mean, iron sharpens iron, and
right.
the school system and the city have to work hand in hand to grow the city together, to betterment the city, so we don't lose citizens because of the school system or the city. If the school system's failing, the city's failing, and we lose citizens, we use young citizens who may be going into that junior high, high school level, and they move out of town, you know, they're not going to be able to complete their high school years here because we've lost that citizen. And so back to the iron sharpens iron. If the city and the school system's working together hand in hand, that is huge for the city as a whole.
Absolutely, and we've been appreciative, and I know the school has, of the council support of
Yes.
the SRO program, that we've
Yes.
got 2 officers that are working in the school system on a regular basis. Thankfully, this last year is part of that partnership that the council has pushed for us to have, and pushed as part of my job to make sure that we do that. We've been able to have one of our staff members that was a part of the strategic planning process
Yes.
for the school, and walked through that from our side with them and our viewpoint on how that's going to work. And that's been a great piece, and I'm glad the council is supportive and pushing
Absolutely.
in that direction for
Yes.
us to make sure that we're staying on top of that,
Absolutely.
that relationship. We've talked a little bit about the growth that's happened and some of the things that's gone on during that, but and there has been, in your 9 years on, we've seen significant growth.
We've seen significant
across
growth.
the city. What are you most excited about that's happened, and maybe looking forward, what do you hope to see in that process?
Looking back on what I'm excited about that's happened, I mean, Brahms was huge. Us landing in Brahms was big. I mean, we go there periodically, and the drive-thru's always packed. Stopped there last night, getting back into town from being out of town, and it was 8 o'clock, and the drive-thru was packed again. So they're doing great there. Looking forward to us landing that next big box store, be it retail, be it grocery, whatever the case may be. You know, and David, you know how passionate I am about our youth and our youth athletics and stuff. I've told you before, the wife and I have spent a lot of money traveling in hotels and going out of town for sporting events competitively, and it would be nice to have a place here that we could eventually partnership with Bixby or Jinx for a national type tournament.
Absolutely.
And then we're bringing in that hotel motel tax, those gas dollars, those tax dollars, and people are spending money here when they travel for those sporting events. Yeah,
it's absolutely crucial. And if the public doesn't realize, cities are funded off of sales tax.
Correct.
In Oklahoma, we do not get property tax for our operating expenses. So anytime we can find ways to increase that by bringing tourism in, that's a great thing. And sports tourism is huge.
It's huge.
And so I agree with you. It's a piece that I think we need to continue to look forward.
Absolutely.
And, it's going to take some significant dollars to build, and maybe that becomes a bond issue down the road, or some other type of public initiative, public vote to look at that. But I agree with you completely. I think that's one of the next big pieces that we need to begin looking at. So we know that's one of your goals, probably for the next 10 years, is to see something. But what other goals do you have? Do you want to see over the next? You got basically a brand new term for you, so you're here and moving forward for the next 4 years with us, and then but even maybe beyond that, what are some of the things that you'd like to see started now that may not even pay fruit until 10 years from now?
Well, short term, I know we're starting on the sanitary sewer plant. Really excited to see that happen, especially with my background and stuff, and looking at budgets, looking at the design, going through that. So it's going to be nice to kind of, so to speak, sit on this side of the table as an owner's rep. So have it. I know that you're in charge of that day to day, not me. But also, we've got to get back. We've got to increase our residential numbers. COVID's over with, and so things are starting to level off price-wise. Some things are coming down. Things will never be to where they were. But the whole material thing and people not building because they couldn't get windows or lumber or the shortages, all that's starting to level back out. So I know there's several housing developments planned. We need to work through those with those developers and get our rooftops back in order moving forward, because I know our numbers the last year haven't been the best compared to previous years on our rooftops. It has dipped. So if we get our rooftops going back, and then with the mechanical sewer plant that we're starting as well, those are some long-term goals I would like to see happen.
Perfect. Well, I know, like you said, hopefully with building material shortages and costs coming back into play, I think our next big hurdle is going to be interest rates.
Yes.
And, unfortunately, there's very little either one of us can do about that.
We can't control that.
So, but no. I agree. I think it is, for the long-term health of the city.
Yes.
We've got to continue to grow the rooftops.
Right. You know as well as I do, when you're out attracting retail and our consultants are attracting retail for us, the number one thing we get asked is rooftops. Yeah. How many rooftops do we have? How many are coming up? How many developments do we have? I mean, the thousands and thousands of cars that go up and down 75 every day are great, but at the end of the day, it's rooftops in town.
Yeah, you need both.
We need both.
Absolutely. So, one of the questions we ask everybody that comes and sits down with us here is what is your favorite thing about Glenpool? The community. My
favorite thing about the community of Glenpool is the people. That's why I decided to run 8-9 years ago. That's why I've continued to run, is just the people I've met along the way, and the friendships that have been made. It's not about me. I know I'm a 20% vote when it comes to policy. You run the day-to-day of the city. I tell my coworkers I'm only in charge of one person that I have the ability to hire and fire, and it's you, sir.
That is me.
So everybody else reports to you. But the staff here is wonderful. Really, really like your staff. The people, just the citizens, you know. It's kind of funny, when I started running years ago, the kids were in school, and when I was campaigning, campaign signs were out on the streets. The kids absolutely hated that because they were getting asked questions at the school by their teachers. But it's ultimately, at the end of the day, it's the people. Their strength in numbers. And if everybody's joined together for a common goal and a common bond and working together to achieve that, anything's possible.
That's right.
Nothing can stop us, and I think that's what I like the most about this community.
Yeah, that's great. And that's probably the most prominent answer we get from everybody. It seems to be the common theme is, regardless of everything else that we're doing in this community, all the amenities that we're working to get here. Everybody loves Glenpool because of our people.
Correct.
And we're the friendliness here in town, the desire to understand what's going on and share their input into that process, and we've got a great community.
Well, and going back to Public Works, it's nice for me to sit behind the bench at a council meeting and see police officers and see firemen get sworn in that are Glenpool products, that went to high school with my kids, that played sporting events with my kids, and having that relationship with those kids' parents, and those young adults as they start their careers and their families. It's real rewarding for me to sit back and watch and see.
Absolutely. There's typically always something that I've missed to ask, or that we didn't get covered in quite the way you'd want. But is there anything else that we haven't covered yet that you want to make sure we get covered today?
No, hit the high points. So I'm glad to be here, glad to be part of the community. That's why I've continued to run and serve.
And we appreciate that. As I said, it's I think you and your fellow council members have been great. To find ways to move this city forward.
Absolutely.
It's all about that creating opportunity for us that's in our logo, and it's really all about that our mission statement is creating trust based on the way we do things with our community. And I think you guys as a council, and you specifically, your desire to see that play out in day-to-day interactions with the public is why we do what we do in the city. And so thank you for the work that you do, your volunteer time for this city, and for being a part of it.
Absolutely. Glad to be here. Perfect. Glad to be a part of it.
Thanks. Glenpool, this is it for our conversations with the city. Glad you joined us. Tune again next month.